Hello and welcome back to another Dare to Game video. Today we're playing Star Wars Outlaws and I just want to go through my first impressions of this game. And now maybe first impressions isn't the most accurate thing to call this review because I've actually been playing it for about 15 hours at this point. You know, I'm going to follow the same format as I typically do with the first impression, so I'm not going to be crazy detailed with like a numbered rating and be, you know, giving my definitive views on the game. Just kind of what I've gotten from this point, and it'll also sort of serve as a should you buy it or kind of letting you know what this game is all about. So, just a couple of disclaimers here out in the open. I'm playing this on PC, so all of my experiences are, you know, colored by that fact. It has run pretty dang good for me. I'm not trying to crank out the top, you know, tip-toppest 60 FPS, 4K, ray tracing, all that sort of stuff. I've just been playing it on a fairly standard resolution on a fairly high-end PC, so performance has been good. I have no problems with that. I do not like the fact that on PC you're locked into using the Ubisoft Connect, or whatever the specific Ubisoft app is called. I prefer Steam, but that being said, I did not buy this game. I just subscribed to the Ubisoft subscription thingy for a month, which is like $18 with tax. So I feel like if you're gonna, at this day and age, in this day and age, at this point, Ubisoft games are all fairly the same, I would say. So like you could accurately describe them as you know, Ubisoft game Star Wars. That would be this one. Ubisoft game Vikings. You know, that's Assassin's Creed Valhalla. They're all just kind of the same game nowadays. And so, if you're going to get a Ubisoft game, you kind of know what you're expecting. They're not crazy replayable, I would say. You know, once you played through the story, that's about all you need, and most of the open world stuff isn't really worth doing unless you're kind of a completionist like I sometimes am. So I think the subscription model is great for consumers. I don't know how it'll work for them long term, but I don't intend on keeping the subscription service for more than a month. That should be more than enough time to have played this game, and nothing in this game so far has made me think that I'm going to want to play it again, at least anytime soon. So, I do have to say that I'm colored by the fact that I can just pay $18 for this game, and for $18, it's not a bad value. There are a lot of people making comparisons to lots of other games. I think that's unnecessary. The closest thing you can compare Star Wars Outlaws 2 is just the last two Star Wars games, you know, Survivor and Fallen Order. They're basically the same game. Now, they have differences, and I think the differences are mostly for the better. I would say that playing as an outlaw is more fun than playing as a Jedi in the Disneyverse, but that's like the biggest downside of this game is the fact that Disney owns Star Wars, so everything is generic and sanitized. You don't get any blood and gore. The game is called Outlaws, but you barely ever do anything outlaw-ish. When you're in any of the larger settlements, you can't even draw your blaster or do anything remotely outlawish. You can only do that out in the open world sections, but big deal. There's nothing all that exciting about that. It's all very sanitized and clean, and that's the worst thing about this game, is that it's supposed to be a game about outlaws. When I hear that, I think Red Dead Redemption 2, but in Star Wars. And I think that would have been a lot better game, but of course it's a lot expecting Ubisoft to do anything even remotely comparable to Rockstar. But I do think that when comparing it to the Jedi games, it is better. For one thing, there's a lot less platforming. I'm over platforming in games. I think it has gotten to the point where it's just incredibly annoying. This game has light parkour elements. They're kind of like Assassin's Creed, maybe not quite as smooth, but you know, you climb walls to get up places. You do a little bit of stuff, but it's not like the Jedi games where you were constantly doing ridiculous levels of platforming. So that's a strength for this game. The biggest weakness of this game is probably the main character. I mean, like, I don't super dislike her, but the fact that there's no customization and no depth in any of the RPG elements or anything like that means that a bland character will not work. She needed to have a lot more personality and character put into her. I would say that's the only difference between the Jedi games and this one, is that Cal Kestis is a more interesting character. But this one should be more interesting because an outlaw is generally more interesting. If you go into the menu, you can see where a lot of our weaknesses are coming from. I don't mind the abilities thing, which is where you come into contact with people and then you have like challenges to unlock different skills. I kind of like that system. It's fun. It definitely isn't very RPG-ish, but it's different, and I've been enjoying it so far. As far as things that I really dislike about this game, it does what a lot of really surface-level action adventure games do, and there's no depth at all. There's no inventory management system, or at least nothing serious. They've got an inventory where you could pick up junk and sell it, but there's nothing. You can't pick up guns and like build your own gun collection and decide what weapons you want to use, or even swap out the one blaster you have. You're stuck with this generic blaster, and you can do upgrades to it in 3 different categories. So you have 3 different firing modes: plasma, ion, and power. I don't hate that. It's fun enough, and you can customize the appearance with some presets that you can find, scattered around the map or for doing challenges. I don't hate that you can customize it. What I hate is that you're in a Star Wars game where one of the coolest things is the dramatic variety of weapons and all that sort of stuff, and you can pick some up and temporarily use them, but you can't keep them. I hate that. You're an outlaw. A big part of the Star Wars mythos for outlaws and bounty hunters and stuff like that is being able to customize their weapons and loadout and all that sort of stuff based on the wide variety in the world, but in here you can't. You're just stuck with the one blaster, and that's it. And I dislike that. I think that that's an easy change that the game could have had, where you had the ability to choose what weapons you want to use, and they decided against it. Other than that, you also have some, it's mostly cosmetic, but there are benefits, so you can find different gear in the game, and so there's lots of different options. You can get certain ones for raising your reputation with the different syndicates in the game, and those will come with actual perks, and then there's ones that you can find that'll come with perks. So this one reduces damage taken from blaster and projectile weapons. And then there are ones that are just cosmetic. And so that's fine. I like that at the very least you can change your clothing. I guess the game could have been more minimal and it wouldn't let you change your clothing. This game also has a system where you can change appearance, which I like and I don't like. So it's always fun where you can, the good part of it is that you can choose to look however you want. You're not forced into wearing something just because it has better stats. So that's fun, but the other problem with that is it kind of reduces the importance of finding cool new things, at least in some ways, because you can always just make whatever you want look like whatever you want, So I don't know. It's always a system I'm conflicted about. Your little sidekick character, Nyx, is pretty stereotypical for a game like this. It's just the thing that you use to go do stuff. You can fetch, you can distract. It'll help you in combat if you wanted to. It feels like all the Star Wars games where you've got, or even most games like this in general, but specifically I'm thinking of the Star Wars games we've got. I think BD1, it does the same sort of stuff, except more limited than BD1, but it's a cute enough pet, and I don't mind it. It's better than having a human companion or anything like that, because I never like those type of companion systems, or at least most games do them very poorly. Other than that, for customization, you've got charms, which again just give you little increases for various different things. It all feels super surface level and makes almost no difference at all. The reputation system's kind of fun. You have 4 different syndicates in the game that you can, you have to try and impress or whatever. Basically, every decision you make in the main story and in all the syndicate stuff will piss off one and make one happy, so I like that system well enough. The ship is kind of cool. It looks cool from the outside, and I like the interior layout of it well enough. I think it adds to the general vibe of the stereotypical or archetypal Star Wars cruise ship started by the Millennium Falcon. It's about that size. It's got kind of similar functions to it. I got no problems with the ship, I guess. So far, I haven't found any paint jobs that I find to be particularly cool, but whatever. Is what it is. It's fun enough to fly. You can dogfight in space. The game does allow you to enter and exit atmosphere kind of seamlessly, although it's really just a disguised loading screen. Performance-wise, the game is decent. Story-wise, so far, it's been kind of fun. Mostly, it lacks in depth. It's as wide as an ocean, but as deep as a puddle, and I always hate that about games. It's always going to be the biggest detractor that I have for pretty much all Ubisoft games and most action-adventure games in general. When you can't do anything of any level of depth, I lose my interest soon, because it's basically just a on-the-rails arcade game. And before this video gets too long, I want to talk about the last little thing, and it is the open world. That's something that this game was touted a lot. They kept saying it's the first open world game, and in my mind I was thinking, the Jedi games, Fallen Order and Survivor, were pretty damn open world, and they're comparable to this, because most of the time that you're playing in the game is going to be in the major cities, and the cities are extremely on the rails. They're not open world at all. You've got a bunch of corridors, and they trick you into thinking it's very large, but this is this whole city. The Kajimi city is just this. That's the whole city. There's almost nothing here. And the worst part is, because of how on the rails and restricted they are, they're a pain in the ass to navigate around. You'll be, this one's not nearly as bad, but the city that you start in on Tashara, which is the first kind of place where you actually start being able to get around. That one is horrible to navigate around. It is needlessly confusing, and I hate it. As far as other things go, though, for the whole open world debate, the worlds are decent. I like them. I think they're immersive. You have basically, this is it. It's not open galaxy or anything. You can go to these 4 systems, or at least based on my experience so far. So you have Tatooine in the Tattoo system, which is a funny name for that. In the Tashal system, you have both Tashara Orbit, which has like a space station and a bunch of debris and stuff like that, but also the planet, or I should say the moon of Tashara. It's a decently large open world spot. But the worlds are probably the strength. They do look pretty cool. The whole game does have a fairly well realized Star Wars veneer to it, so if you're a huge Star Wars fan, I could see you liking this game just for the atmosphere, because you are playing in a Star Wars world. Overall, I don't hate the game. A lot of people hate it. I do not. I think it is a very, very average experience. I would never pay full price for it, and I would certainly never pay, any of the ridiculous collector's edition or whatever the heck they called it, the top ones, $130. Paying $130 for this game is absolutely insane to me. Paying $18 to subscribe for a month and then be done with it, that's totally doable. Me personally, I would not pay full price for it because I'm not a huge Star Wars fan, and I have played too many games to be impressed by something this mediocre. But yeah, that is my review. It's not terrible. I don't hate it. I plan to finish it, but after I finish it, I likely won't play it again. So I hope all of that information in the rambling sort of way was helpful to you or entertaining or something. If you're wondering why I'm not getting any exciting gameplay, it's because I got stuck at this point because of a game-breaking bug. Basically, I can't progress past the spot, and it locked me at a spot where my droid is waiting for me to upgrade my blaster, but it won't let me upgrade my blaster, and so I can't leave the city, I can't fly into space, I can't do anything. It is a horribly stupid way to get stuck, but that's why I'm stuck here, is because I can't progress any further. So I figured I'd make this video quick before having to restart the game or revert back to a way earlier save that I have and hope that I'll be able to progress past this point. So that is all for today. Hope you enjoyed the video. I will probably do some Star Wars Outlaws content in the coming days here since I'm, playing the game a whole bunch, but hope this video is useful, but we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching another Dare to Game video. If you liked this video, please leave a like and a comment. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you like my content and would like to support this channel, consider becoming a member today for as little as $1.99 a month. It makes a huge difference. But in any case, thanks for watching and have a nice day. I'll see you next time.